Welcome, welcome. Mentalism, correspondence, vibration, polarity, rhythm, cause and effect, gender. Countdown initiated. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome everyone, we are live. My, and it's Thursday. I just woke up from a dream. And in the dream I had cornrows in my hair. But you remember Susan Taylor from Fashion or whatever? No, it was Essence Magazine. I don't remember, but she was there. If you know who I'm talking about, my hair was braided back like that. And they called me something in the dream, but I do not remember what it was. Anyway, that being said, perhaps it will come back to me what they called me. Because in the dream, funnily enough, Jay-Z called me that too. I don't know. I do not remember what the name is. But anyway. Anywho. Driving and living are the same. Oh. How could they possibly be the same? Well, you have to get in the vehicle and decide where you want to go. Whether you drive yourself or someone else drives you, you still have to have a destination, a desired outcome. You must always have a desired outcome because everything is moving. Nothing stands still. Right? But also when you're driving, I remember my driving instructor used to say to me, before you make that turn and you're sitting at that red light, before you make that turn, look ahead. Look at where you're going to turn. Just always look where you want to go, is what he always said to me. And the more you drive, the more you understand that. Because if something happens, people do this thing, they drive and they look at what happened. They call it rubbernecking. But if you drive, you will realize that wherever you look, the car is going to go in that direction. Pay attention to it next time. Wherever you look, that car is going to go in that direction. Now, wherever you're going to go in your mind's eye, you have to put your eyes on it. You have to make up your mind that that's where you're going. Why? Because wherever you're looking is where you're going to go. You think it's just with driving? Driving follows the principles. Wherever you look is where you will steer the car. So if in life you're looking at the complaining, at the poor me, where do you think you're going to end up? On the curb somewhere. Because you're no longer looking in the direction of where you say you want to be going. Think about that for a moment. Look at it. Even though I drive a Yaris, it's still got some weight behind it. Not a lot, but it's got some weight behind it. Such is life. Life has weight behind it. Which is your meaning, your intention. Right? So if you find that you say to yourself, oh, well, I know where I'm going. Well, naturally, if you know where you're going, if you put it in your GPS, especially if it's somewhere you've never been, it means you have to pay extra attention so as not to miss your turn because you've never been there before. But that place you've never been before, if it is somewhere that you want to go, what do? You take the same route every time to get there. It becomes a practiced route because you take all the time. Pardon me. Ooh, your girl is feeling it this morning, right? Also, when you're driving, when you're driving, you have to be focused, don't you? Now, if it's the route that you drive all the time, you do things on autopilot. How you know you did it on autopilot? Oh my God, I don't even remember getting here. How many of us have said that as we're driving? I don't remember getting here. Like, oh my God, that was so quick. Why? Because habitually that is the route you take. So you don't even see it. You know you traveled it because you have arrived at your destination. But don't even ask you for the details. Because you can't give them because you don't see it because it is so familiar to you. Hmm. And here's the thing. Let's touch back on that focus. Isn't there a new law with cell phones now talking about distracted driving? What happens if you're distracted when you're driving? No time to respond to things. Or you end up in some kind of, incident, right? So as you are living, you must stay focused. Stay focused. You thought that living and driving were separate things? You have to do the same thing in both instances. Step one, what is your destination? Or what would you like to become? Step two, what would you be doing in reality if you were being the man or the woman you wanted to be? Well, look at it with driving. You have to get in and you see I don't know about you, but I know I see the route before I drive it, especially if it's somewhere that I go all the time. I see the route before I take it. And pardon me, y'all, and depending upon how many stops I have to make, my daddy taught me you go the furthest distance first. Yeah? You go the furthest distance because you don't necessarily always, you don't want to backtrack. So if you have to you do things that don't involve passing your house so that when you're done, you come home. You don't have, you pass your house, then you gotta go back again somewhere else. Nah. He says, no, go the furthest place first. Whoever's gonna close first, that's where you go first. So you see how you make your decisions when you're driving? Look at what you base it on. You base it on the desired outcome. And because you've based it on the desired outcome, you act accordingly. You plan your route according to that. So when you're living, it's the same thing. You decide where you're going to go, and the route unfolds for you. Sometimes there's a fastest route, right? Sometimes there's a fastest route. Sometimes a route has construction on it, meaning life has things. It has potholes, which aren't always fun, but you know, if you're paying attention, you'll see them. And you won't have to swerve, right? You just ease around them. You don't have to swerve, because when you swerve, what that means, it means it caught you by surprise. You didn't see it, right? Think about that for a moment. That as you're driving, you must decide where you want to go. Listen, even if you get in the car with the top down and a little bit of music blaring and you say, oh, what a lovely day for a stroll, like a nice slow drive, like a Sunday drive, right? Even if you don't have a destination in mind, look at the intention. You want to go on a Sunday drive, which means you want to take your time and be leisurely, stop at all the stops and enjoy all the sights along the way. Even if you say that that's what you're doing, you still have to decide to do it, to have that experience. And you thought driving was separate? You have to use the same things, the same principles. And you'll notice something when you get into drive. Who's making the decisions when you are behind the wheel? Okay. Who has the say? You do. You may tell Uber you want to go to a destination, and if it uses Google, they will use the fastest route. But they're there because you said so. Do you understand? Uber didn't show up. You're looking for a ride. It didn't show up asking you if you're looking for a ride. It showed up and said, I am here because you called me. Well, think about that. Nothing shows up unless you call it. Hmm? We summon it by way of our words or our intentions or our internal conversations. Think about that for a moment. Look at some of our cars. I can't even talk. Mine is not obtusely gross. I keep it tidy, but I can stand to do a little better. I do have a big bag for garbage, and I put it in the back, but not got to throw it out, right? What do we have in our lives? And we keep hoarding it up. But the car becomes messy. If you got to give somebody a ride somewhere, you got to be moving, step off the front seat. Hello. How you doing in your life? Say, I want to do something. People are looking at me. I got to act right. Oh, it is very intriguing. It is very intriguing to compare the two things because the same principle you apply to drive is the same principle you apply to live. It's the same one. When you get in that car to drive, even if somebody says, can you go get me this? You still have to decide what route you're going to take. And you also have to decide if you're going to say, yes, I can assist, or no, I'm busy. So when you're living and somebody makes a suggestion to you, Well, you can decide, yes, you're going to do it, or no, that is not for me. You still have to make the final call. But look at us. If you don't want to drive somebody somewhere, you clearly say, nah, I don't have the time to assist. But look at how some of us feel. We feel guilty for not assisting. Oh, but I should. And that's just driving, right? We make those decisions. But look at us. Look at how we live now. Somebody wants you to do something and you say, but I really want to have this friend. I don't want to, but man, next thing you know, you give in and you do it. Why? Because you really want to have the friend. Whereas, compare it. If you can say to somebody, no, I can't assist, because they want you to drive them somewhere, you say, no, I can't. You do it. You may feel a little way about it, but you do it. It's the same principle for living. It is. But why do we do it? Because we want to keep the friend. We want to be liked. So if you're bold enough to say, no, I can't give you a ride, then you can be bold enough to say, I don't people please. But you see, we give one more weight than the other. We think driving is just driving and living is so complex, when in actuality, it is simple, just like driving. You got to get in that car and make a decision for yourself. So why are you allowing somebody else to make decisions for your life for you? And let me ask you this question. When you get in the car and you drive, who's the operator? No need to ask. Smooth operator. Who's the operator? You are. You're the one choosing the destination. You're the one putting the key in the ignition. You are the one driving. So you are the operator. Yet, you're gonna get in your car and look for the other driver to drive for you. So why you're getting into your life and looking outside of you for guidance to live it? I mean, I'm just asking for a friend. And we think that driving is separate from living. It is not. It is not. You have to get in your car and you are the driver. You're the licensed one. You're the insured one. The buck stops with you. But when you get out of the car and you close the door and burp, burp, when you get out of that car and you say you're living your life, you're looking for someone to guide you. How am I supposed to know your destination? It is your job to guide your life. Hmm? People say, Angela, you're being blasphemous. God rules your life. Mm. It is your awareness that allows you to drive the car. Remember your route, everything, right? Because if you were not alive with that breath in your body, how are you going to drive? It's the same thing. The breath in your body, that's what powers you to live, right? But you are the one who has to make the decisions. So why are we so afraid of making decisions? You get in your car, don't turn on the ignition, and say, well, I've got to get to work. So if the Lord wills me to be there, I'll get there. Child, you better turn on the ignition. And you better drive that car to work. This is my point to you. We keep looking to the outside for something to guide us when it is us who's the operant power. Any bus driver will tell you he has the same route every day. He's got the same route. He's memorized where his stops are, everything. Do they not? Well, you have to do the same thing. Driving and living are the same. They most definitely are. You must take responsibility for your life. Well, and what does that responsibility look like? You'll tell it where to go and you'll protect it. You'll protect it. You'll make sure that you got enough fuel. Desire, passion, that is your fuel. Because without fuel, the car's not going anywhere. Sometimes we need a tow truck. Sometimes we need a mechanic. But you're the one who still has to decide. You're the one who still has to decide and guide your life accordingly. When you get in that car, you better have a measure of confidence. Hello? And how did you gain that confidence? How did you go from being timid on the streets to being the one hollering behind the wheel, get out of my way, merge, idiot, merge? Yeah. How'd you get there? By continually driving.